My name is Keith and I'm one of the beer specialists for Guinness. So I'm going to spend some time into here just taking you through some of our beers. Of course, when we talk about Guinness beers, there is one in particular that a lot of you might be already familiar with. Our most popular beer in this country and in the places that you're from is a beer we call draft Guinness. One we generally, of course, pour on draft in pubs or sometimes from the widget cans. But we're going to take some time to talk about some of the other Guinness beers, things you might be a little less familiar with. But once we've tried 4 different Guinness beers at the end of this, we'll also talk about Guinness Draft. So we won't be ignoring that beer, we'll talk about it at the end. But instead of me pouring you a sample of Guinness Draft, as I'm going to do with the other 4 beers, when we reach Guinness Draft, instead I'm going to demonstrate how we pour the perfect pint of it. And once you see me pour a pint of Guinness, you're going to hop in here behind the bar and you're going to get a chance to pour one for yourself, okay? While we're doing all of this, if anybody has any questions, I'm here for that as well. So anything that you want to know about our brewery, our history, the beers, the brewing process, the ingredients that we make our beers with, any questions that you do have, please do ask. As I said, I'm here for that as well. And as we do our tasting, I'll ask you what you think of the beer that we're tasting. If it's something you like, let me know. If it's not your favourite one, it's completely fine to say too. But hopefully that won't be the case. Are we all beer drinkers?
Oh yeah.
Yes?
No.
Okay.
No. I do for him, it's fine.
Okay. I hope you do something fun later on. You want to do. But guys, we're going to taste our first beer to start us off, okay? So this might be not the style of beer that you're expecting when you walked in here to the doors today, but our first beer is an IPA. It comes from what we call the Guinness Open Gate Brewery. Is that good news?
Yeah.
Excellent. It comes from what we call the Guinness Open Gate Brewery. So we have 2 breweries here at the moment on this site that are operational. We have our main brew house, and here we call it Brew House 4 because it's the 4th brew house on this site since Guinness started brewing here nearly close to 266 years ago. Brew House 4, it brews Guinness for all of Europe and for North America on a daily basis, producing anywhere from between 3.5 to 4 million pints of it. Each brew roughly about 95,000 litres. We have a smaller brewery here too also where we can experiment and brew anywhere from 300 litres of beer up to a maximum of 1,000 litres. And this was built by the Guinness family back in 1904 as a way of giving the brewers not only the chance to experiment with beer on a smaller scale, but ingredients as well. It's never stopped. They've been experimenting there for over 100 years, but just nearly 10 years ago it was open to the public for the first time. And we now call it the Guinness Open Gate Brewery. The gates open at the weekends, and for the first time the public can walk through the gates of this brewery, or experimental brewery. Once inside, get a chance to try some small batch beers. So the beer we're going to taste first, it comes from there, and we call it Citra IPA. Does anybody know where the name for the beer comes from? Citra.
Citra hops.
Citra is a variety of hop. So IPA is more of a hop-forward beer, of course. It's certainly more of an assertive bitterness to the beer. And characteristically, it's also going to have some hop flavour, hop aroma. We use hops differently to achieve certain things in the brewing process. So for bitterness in beer, the hops that we add, they have to go into the boil stage. And the reason for this is the hops that contain a lot of different oils and resins. The main resin for bitterness is called alpha acid. When we boil it, it extracts it from the hop, and it, most importantly at this stage, dissolves it into the beer so we get the bitterness that we require. IPAs are going to have some hop flavour too, and the oil that gives the beer its aroma, it will boil off quite quickly. It's a volatile compound, so it will boil off as we boil our hops for bitterness. So we'll typically add hops late to the process of making an IPA. Quite commonly after fermentation, while the beer is in maturation, we'll add hops here, and we call this dry hopping. And the particular variety of hop that we chose to add to this beer, not only for bitterness, but also for dry hopping the beer, it's an aroma and a bitterness hop called Citra, an American variety. As the name suggests, it's very citrus-like. It has a lot of orange, kind of grapefruit flavour and aroma to it. Has anybody tried it yet? Anybody seen it while you've been in Dublin? No? Okay.
But it's, where you're saying Citra, it takes me back more to hazy than an IPA. So
yeah.
So or a hazy IPA, but this is not hazy.
This is not hazy. Yes, it's modelled on the kind of the West Coast IPA style.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're kind of toning it down a little bit. So
Okay.
we have kind of guidelines for what dictates what a beer should be in terms of alcohol levels, IBU levels, all this kind of different things. So this is a West Coast IPA, which typically is about 5.5% to 7.5% for alcohol content. And the typically 6 to 7, mostly in bitterness, 50 to 70 IBUs. So this is toning it down a little bit. This is 5% alcohol. And also it's only 45 IBUs. It's deliberately kind of brewed a little bit lighter to make it a bit more refreshing, more of a summery style beer, you know.